And I'm back. Okay, so this is going to be the Bible reading for December 25th. Yeah, December 25th. Dang, I didn't realize how far behind I was. Bummer. Alright, so basically the only thing I didn't do on this was the story on Daily Bread, but I have the link there, so if you just really want to read the story that goes with this today, with February 25th, you can go to that link in the description and it'll take you to that exact day and you can read it from there, because that'll just save some time and it helped me to set this up quicker. So the insight scripture I did keep though, because it does, oh my foot, okay, can anyone tell me how in the heck someone gets osteoarthritis on the top of their foot? The joints, the bones, joints on the top of my left foot, I have osteoarthritis in it. I don't. Only Debbie. Only I can do that, you know. But sometimes when it's hurting, it literally feels like the top of my foot is folding inward, like a, you know, folding. I don't know how to describe it. You'd have to see my hands. Anyway. So, Father, as we continue in your word, I just ask that you continue to bless the reading and the hearing of your word, and help us to just continue to grow in our knowledge and wisdom, discernment and understanding, so that we can be the salt and light of the earth that Jesus called us to be, Father, while there's still time, for we know time is so very short. And we ask this in Jesus' precious name. Amen and amen. Okay, so the inside scripture is Colossians 1:15 through 20. We'll be reading Numbers 12 through 14, which they look like relatively short chapters, and then Mark 5:21 through 43, I want to say. Yeah. Okay. So, in Colossians 1:15 through 20, perhaps an ancient Christian hymn, the supremacy of Jesus, the beloved Son of God, comes into focus, included in the credits that speak of Christ incomparable, not incomparable. Incomparable. That drives me nuts when someone says incomparable. I know it's tomato, but it's incomparable. Excellence in the term firstborn. This word isn't a reference to birth order, as if Christ was the first in the line of created things. Rather, it speaks of him, the image of the invisible God, as the head, source of, and ruler over all things. Paul isn't the only witness to this amazing truth. John notes, through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. Oh yeah, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with him in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. That's part of my favorite scripture right there. Absolute. And then I skip down to John 14. And the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And yes. Anyways, John 1:3. And the writer of Hebrews also corroborates this. Corroborates this. I don't know how to say that word. In these last days he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the universe. Yes. And this was written by Arthur Jackson. So if we read the actual scripture, Colossians 1:15 through 20. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he may have the preeminence, reconciled in Christ. For it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself, by him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. Okay, so we're going to start with Numbers 12. Okay, so the characters is Miriam, which is the sister of Moses and Aaron, and then of course Aaron and Moses. The wind, is, they're in Paran, on the 20th day of the second month of the second year after leaving Egypt. The events of this chapter occurred only a few days after they set out on their journey, so it was approximately 1490 BC. The events recorded in Numbers 12 happened in Hazeroth. At the end of the chapter, the Israelites moved on to the wilderness of Paran. Or Paran. Oh, I hate when it does that. Okay, so verses 1 through 16. Miriam and Aaron speak against Moses. Yeah. Aaron and his sister Miriam were irritated with Moses because he had married a Cushite woman. Verse 2 suggests the real nature of their frustration with Moses' special relationship with God and the authority God had given him over the rest of the Israelites. They said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us all? They complained about Moses even though Moses was a very meek man. God was angry with Aaron and Miriam and called the three siblings to the tabernacle. He spoke with them from the cloud and reaffirmed Moses' special place as God's representative. God asked him, oh, there is a spider crawling across my TV screen. Well, that little butthead, that's the one that I know I put on the plant last night. Look here, you old turd. I better not... Ooh, he jumps, too. Oh, my God. I better not have a bite in the morning, little thing. You know, we usually have an understanding. You don't jump on me, you don't get on me, and you live. Get on me, we both die. Don't be jumping over here, you little thing. Where's my... I have alcohol. I have 90... Not like the kind you drink and get drunk, the rubbing alcohol. But it's like 90%. So... I hope to spray that sucker and he will meet God. You better just stay over there on that printer. Crap, now I'm going to be worrying about that dang spider. Have you ever seen that? Man, have you ever seen that meme where it shows a guy who finds a spider and then when he comes back to kill it, it's gone. And so then you see him running to, you know, driving away in his car and his house is on fire. Or something like that. Anyway. And that thing was moving fast too. And he better not come over here to me. They like to drop down from this stupid vent right above my head. I don't know how many times I'll be sitting here doing a video. You've heard me. And I'll be like, no, not today, Satan. And I'll grab it by its little web that it's hanging from and I'll put it over there on the printer. Or sometimes I'll take it to the plant, whatever. But I'm not in the mood for a spider right now. And I have woke up with spider bites. I had a couple of bites like right beside my nostril. Finally healed up, but they need to quit biting me. Maybe that's why I've been sick. Who knows? Anyway, sorry. Okay, when God finished speaking, the cloud lifted off the tabernacle, and God punished Miriam by afflicting her with leprosy. Oh, God asked Miriam and Aaron why they weren't afraid to speak against his servant. And then he afflicted her with leprosy. Why did he punish her and not Aaron also? That's what I'm wondering. Moses pleaded with the Lord to forgive his siblings and heal Miriam. God told Moses he would heal her after 7 days, but until then she was to be exiled from the camp. I never did understand why she got punished, but Aaron didn't. Aaron was the one that took all that gold and hammered that golden calf and then lied to Moses and said, I threw the gold in the fire and this calf jumped out, right? And then he's complaining with Miriam about Moses and she's, what? I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm going to have to ask one of the pastors if I can remember. Anyways, God told Moses to heal her after 7 days, but until then she was to be exiled from the camp. Yeah, because she had leprosy. The Israelites remained at Hazeroth until the 7 days were completed. Then they moved on into the wilderness of Paran. If y'all see a spider crawling on me, y'all are welcome to eat it. The authority, application, the authority structures of the world exist because God permits them to exist. And we need to be very careful about speaking evil of those in authority. This is true for civil leaders and religious leaders. Hebrews 13:17. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls. as those who will have to give an account. Shadow, you better not be terrorizing her. Where'd you go? Well, I saw you speaking. Shadow? It's okay, baby girl. Oh, she's really... Shadow! Oh, what is your obsession with her anyway? You are alone and you good. That little orange tabby girl, he's just obsessed with her. I don't get it. Anyways, 1 Thessalonians 5:12. We ask you, brothers, to respect those who labor among you and are over you in the Lord and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Romans 13:1. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. 1 Peter 2:13. Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme or to governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. We should be very careful before we rebel against or speak evil of those in positions of authority. Well, that's true. That is true. Unless they're a false teacher. Todd Wright. I saw a video on YouTube that popped up. And he was doing, oh, it's 11:11. Look at that. Okay, God, I'll shut up now. I'll just stop right there. Yeah, well, anyway. Let's see. There we go. I don't think it was supposed to be 12. I think it was supposed to be 11, wasn't it? Oh, no. Did I just read 12? I did. Oh. That was open. Okay. Dissension of Aaron and Miriam. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman. Oh, wow. So the Cushite and Ethiopian are the same. Okay. I just learned something. Whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. So they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. Of course he did. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting. Boy, talk about being called to the principal's office. Oish. So the three came out. I would be so afraid. Then the Lord came down in the pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. Then he said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark sayings. And he sees the form of the Lord. There was that on me. Let's see. Oh, God, what was that? Oh, see, I'm all jumpy now. I don't know if that was a string or... Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? I can get that, because that's exactly what they did. So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and there she was, a leper. So Aaron said to Moses, oh, my Lord, please do not lay this sin on us, in which we have done foolishly, and in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be as one dead, whose flesh is half consumed when he comes out of his mother's womb. So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, please heal her, O God, I pray. Then the Lord said to Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, will she not be shamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterwards she may be received again. So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward the people moved from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. 13. Okay. Characters: Moses, the 12 spies, the 12 men from Israel who were sent to Canaan to spy out the land. Joshua, also known as Oshea, who was Moses' assistant and was the man selected as the spy from the tribe of Ephraim. Caleb is the spy from the tribe of Judah, and Aaron, the high priest of the Israelites. He was Moses' brother. We know who Aaron is. Definitely know who Aaron is. Okay. In Numbers 10, okay, so we know when, and we know where they're in. Okay, they moved their camp from Hazarah to the wilderness of Paran, or Kadesh. 12 spies went north to inspect the southern part of Canaan. Yeah, see? They were there. They were just so close. Dang, dang. I'm scrolling. Okay, so outline. 12 spies sent to spy out Canaan, verses 1 through 24. God told Moses to select 12 spies. I'm going to grab my socks. I'm going to put my house shoes on here. I don't know where that little thing went, man. It jumped off the TV like behind my printer, and I haven't seen it since. And it's not a brown recluse, but it is tan. It's like a little baby water spider. That sucker can jump. I mean, he just like jumped across the TV screen. Oh, I don't usually, spiders, I'm usually okay with them. I mean, I'll get them in a cup and put them outside if it's not raining or whatever. We just don't know. The windows died down. Oh, good. Oh, and they finally came and got their kitty cat. Box got to go with his mommy and daddy. I'm so happy. Now that little orange male tabby across the street can come back over across at night and get his food again. He wasn't getting to come over here because Box was running him away. Anyway. Okay, so the men were told to inspect the area known as the Negev and the hill country and determine if the inhabitants were strong or weak. They were also tasked with evaluating the land, whether it was fruitful or desolate. They were told to bring back some of the produce because they would arrive at the beginning of the great harvest. The men did as they were instructed, traveling from the wilderness of Zin to the Negev, or how do you say that, and then on to the city of Hebron and the valley of Eshcol. In Eshcol, they cut down a cluster of grapes so large it had to be carried by 2 men. Nice. The spies report back to Moses and Aaron, 25 through 33. After 40 days of spying, always 40 days, God, you're awesome. The 12 Israelites returned to the camp of Israel. They showed Moses, Aaron, and all the people the fruit they found in Canaan, and described the land as flowing with milk and honey. But the spies bemoaned the fact that the people who inhabited the land were strong, and their cities fortified. They told the people they saw the sons of Anak in the land. The sons of Anak, or Anak, I don't know, were a powerful race of people of significant height who descended from the Nephilim. Genesis 6:4. Most of the spies brought back a bad report telling people they would not be able to fight against the Canaanites because they were too strong. But Caleb, the spy from Judah, boldly proclaimed his faith in God and told the people they ought to advance on Canaan immediately and take possession of the land. Now that's faith. These people are 15 to 30 feet tall, but hey, nothing is impossible with God. So the application is, as a leader, you have a lot of influence over people, and you can use that influence to spread infectious faith or infectious faithlessness. The hopelessness of the majority of the spies spread through the camp of Israel like wildfire. Their words revealed they believed they served a weak God, and the people over which they were chiefs began to view God the same way. Being a leader is a big responsibility. You can either lead people into acts of great faith or confidence of success based on the enormity of God's power, or you can lead people into despair and into believing their God is no greater than their own strength. Let's all try to lead like Caleb. Definitely. Well, I don't, because I'm not a pastor. Never will be, was never called, just women, yeah. Evangelist maybe, but even that, I just do what I feel God's called me to do, and I've been doing it. I'm doing it as best I can. Numbers 13, spies sent into Canaan. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am given to the children of Israel. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a leader among them. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the command of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. Now these were their names. From the tribe of Reuben, Shemua, the son of Zakur, from the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori, from Horai, from the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, I have no idea how to pronounce these names, from the tribe of Issachar, Igel, the son of Joseph, from the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea, from the son of Nun, and from the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphu, from the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sodi, from the tribe of Joseph, that is, from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, the son of Susi, from the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gidali, from the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael, from the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Bokshi, from the tribe of Gad, Guel, the son of Machi, I don't know. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea, Joshua, the son of Nun, Joshua. They didn't have J's, so it's a Y. So it's like Jesus is actually Yeshua, or Yeshua, Joshua. Yeah. Then Jesus sent them, and like Jacob was Yaakov, is Yaakov. Still is. They still say it that way, actually. Then Moses sent them out to spy out the land of, and actually James is pronounced that way too. Isn't that a trip? Then Moses sent them out. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Verse 17. Then Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, Go up this way into the south, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, few or many, whether the land they dwell in is good or bad, whether the cities they inhabit are like tents or strongholds, whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests there or not. Be of good courage, and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob, near the entrance of Hamath. And they went up through the south and came to Hebron, Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai. The descendants of Anak were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. God, that was cold. Then they came to the valley of Eshcol, and there cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes. They carried it between two of them on a pole. They also brought some of the pomegranates and figs. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol, because of the cluster which the men of Israel cut down there. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And then they told him and said, We went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men who had gone up with him said, We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, The land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. Then we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak, Enoch, or whatever, came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight. Okay, and then Numbers 14, we have Moses, we know, Israelites, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that traveled from Egypt to the border of Canaan through the wilderness. See, they were there, man. They were right there. We know Joshua, Oshea, Caleb, the spy from the tribe of Judah, the one that gave a good report, and we know who Aaron is. They are still in, they're in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And that rain is something else. I pray we get rain because of all those fires, and now we've got this crazy wind. Not a good combination. It's just insanity. Judgment's coming on us, man. Yeah, keep being against Israel. Keep screaming Palestine will be free, and watch what God does to those that go against his people. Okay, and it just went through to the outline. Oh, yeah, that was what I want. That was a good application. The Israelites rebelled against God and Moses, verses 1 through 12. After hearing the bad report from the men who sent to spy out the land of Canaan. I'm sorry, I'm getting nerve pain in my left thigh. Give me just a minute. Jeez, that was... Ow! The Israelites grumbled about Moses and Aaron. They said they wished they had died in Egypt during the wilderness. Some of the people wanted to choose a new leader to take them back to Egypt. Joshua and Caleb tried to get the people to put their faith in God and to believe he would empower them to conquer the land, but the people threatened to stone them. To keep Joshua and Caleb from being stoned, God's glory appeared at the tabernacle, and he threatened to destroy the whole multitude. Verses 13 through 19, Moses intercedes for the Israelites. Moses advocated on behalf of the people. He was concerned that if God destroyed the people, God would no longer be respected by the surrounding nations, who had marveled at hearing about his 10 plagues on Egypt. Moses appealed to God's forgiving nation and asked for forgiveness for Israel. The Lord's pardon and punishment, verses 20 through 38. God granted Moses' request and did not destroy the people, but he did punish them. The 10 faithful spies died by plague before the Lord. Oh, wow. God told Moses no one over the age of 20 would be allowed to enter Canaan apart from Joshua and Caleb. Wow. God was going to punish Israel by making them live in the wilderness for 40 years until all the people in the older generation died. Wow. The Israelites were told to turn around. Oh, that's so sad. And head back towards the Red Sea. They were so right there. The change of heart, verses 39 through 45. When the people heard the punishment, they mourned greatly. The next day they told Moses they were going to go to Canaan and fight for the land. Moses advised them not to do it, because the Lord would not bless them. Some individuals fought with the Amalekites and Canaanites in the hill country, but they were swiftly defeated. Well, you think? The application, being on God's side, will require you to be in the minority. This is a pattern we'll see repeated throughout the Bible. And still to this day, we're still the minority. Trusting God and doing His will has never been popular. Jesus told His disciples it would always be this way. Matthew 7, verses 13 to 14. Being a servant of God requires separating yourself from the majority. Too much. Okay. So Israel refuses to enter Canaan. So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims. Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said to one another, let us select a leader and return to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. I need to let those two. Let me see. I need to check the temperature because we still have two cats outside, and it just dawned on me. I don't know if I should let them in because I really don't want to let them in because one of them keeps coming upstairs and they won't. We have to rope off the kitchen so they can't go in there because they go in there and spray my stupid cabinets. I hate that. So, but if it's not going to get too cold, they'll be okay. They have places they can go outside to get out of the wind. Let's see weather. Oh, it's 39 degrees outside. As long as it's above freezing, they will be all right. Oh, it's going to get down to 29. It's out of the north. I still know it feels like 30. Oh, it's the wind. Okay, that's it. So 3 or 4 a.m. It's not going to get above 29 until like 9. Oh man, I'm going to have to let those babies in when I finish this video. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had... I got to go let them in now. It's just going to bug me. I'm sorry. Give me a minute. You better know to come up here, boy. Alright, cool. Well, I got one of them in. Sorry about that, guys. I just realized it's going to be like 29 degrees, and that's before the wind chill, so it's going to be even colder than that. One of them I can't find. So I'm like telling Sebastian, because we take these little buckets and we put little beds in them. I actually noticed it. So shut the door. No cats in here. I think I'll just leave it that way. No cats? That's cool. Anyways, so I'm sitting there like, come on, buddy. You know, so I coach him out of his bucket bed thing, and I'm getting him in, and I hear chittering, yelling at me. I hear an animal yelling at me, and I look over, and that raccoon, the teenager raccoon, he's over there eating the cat food by Brandon's car in the driveway where we keep food out for him. And he's yelling at me because I was interrupting his meal. He wasn't going to stop eating. He just let me know he was there. And I looked at him and I was like, just do you, boo? Look up and in. So I got the cat in. I didn't worry about CB because I don't know where CB is, but CB's probably, they have places to go. So that was funny. And there's a kitty that's been coming around lately. He's probably about 6-8 months old. We had a cat named Whisper that we used to have, a neighbor that used to live next door. I guess he was late for work and he ripped out of his driveway and he ran over him, and I know it broke his heart because he loves cats. And he ran over my little Whisper with this kitty. He's wild, he's feral as can be. He looks just like my Whisper. His Whisper had that little werewolf looking face. Oh, he's so beautiful. Long, long hair. He's on the back porch right now eating dry food. Our house is where people think they're supposed to take unwanted cats. It has been that way since James moved in this house since 1995. And you know, there's a park across the street, and there's all these trees around, so there's all kinds of birds and squirrels. So, you know, and a lot of people think, oh yeah, cats can hunt, they'll live, they won't die. No, you know, the odds of cats actually catching what they hunt are really low. They don't, I mean, to actually catch what they're hunting, they miss more than they catch. That's a misconception people have about cats, but down here though, there's plenty to choose from. Anyway, let's get back to this. So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night, and all the children of Israel complained against. Okay, well, we read that. Okay. Why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims? Will it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said to one another, let us select the leader and return to Egypt. Oh, pardon me. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. I guess James got tired of me eating his Pringles. I bought him a can of Pringles and took them downstairs. So I can't munch on them. Little pig. I made him cinnamon rolls. How dare he? Oh well. That's too funny. Like I won't go downstairs and just get some. Then Moses, okay, but 6. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes, and they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them. And the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Now the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of meeting before all the children of Israel. Moses intercedes for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? And how long will they not believe me? With all the signs which I have performed among them, I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. And Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear it, for by your might you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. They have heard that you, Lord, are among these people, that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. Now if you kill these people as one man, then the nations of which have heard of your fame will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, Therefore he killed them in the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of my Lord be great, just as you have spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression. But he by no means clears the guilty, for visiting the iniquity of the fathers of the children to the third and fourth generation. Pardon the iniquity of this people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. Then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word, but truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, because all these men who have seen my glory, and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have put me to the test, now these 10 times, and have not heeded my voice. They certainly shall not see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who rejected me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley. Tomorrow turn and move out into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Death sentence on the rebels. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation who complain against me? I have heard the complaints which the children of Israel make against me. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, just as you have spoken to my hearing, so I will do to you. The carcasses of you who have complained against me shall fall in this wilderness. All of you who were numbered, according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above, except for Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun, you shall by no means enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. But your little ones, whom you said would be victims, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. But as for you, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and your sons shall be shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and bear the brunt of your infidelity, until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. According to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, for each day you will bear your guilt 1 year, namely 40 years. And you shall know my rejection. I, the Lord, have spoken this. I will surely do so to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Now the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report of the land, those very men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague before the Lord. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive of the men who went to spy out the land. A futile invasion attempt. Then Moses told these words to all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, sorry, I'm crushing my water bottle. Here we are. And we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised, for we have said. And Moses said, now why do you transgress the command of the Lord? For this will not succeed. Do not go up, lest you be defeated by your enemies, for the Lord is not among you. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword, because you have turned away from the Lord. The Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, neither the ark of the covenant or the Lord came, nor Moses departed from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt in that mountain came down and attacked them and drove them back as far as Hormah. Alright, and then Mark 21 through 43. Okay. So here's verse 21 through 23. And when Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and seeing him he fell at his feet, and implored him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, so that she may be well and live. Verse 24, and he went with him, and a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. Returning from Jesus arrived at Capernaum to large crowds. Several times the Gospels mention people waiting and watching at the shore for Jesus to arrive. They were probably sick people who couldn't wait for Jesus to come back so he could take them out of their pain and suffering. What will Jesus' arrival mean to you? Do you dread the thought of Jesus coming back because your life isn't right? Or are you like these people? Yes. Anxiously awaiting his arrival so he can take you out of a world of pain and suffering. Yes. A man, Jairus, approached him and earnestly implored him to come to his house and heal his daughter who was close to death. The text says he went with him. Jesus, oh, you went out, Mommy? I'll let you out. Well, I don't care. Let's go. Good. Now I definitely don't have any cats in here. I didn't know Yang was even in here. I don't know where the heck she was. That was weird. Approached him and earnestly implored him to come to his house and heal his daughter who was close to death. I think that orange tabby was on the landing. That's why she's like changing her mind about going out the door. But I kind of booted her out the door anyway. The text says he went with him. Jesus seemed to have respect for bold faith and bold request. Jesus was the most important man in Capernaum. It probably would have taken some courage to approach Jesus and ask him to follow you. The man may have thought, who am I to ask for Jesus this time? There were probably plenty of other things Jesus could have been doing. Probably plenty of important people who wanted Jesus' time. But Jesus rewards the man with the bold request and goes with him to his house. What would Jesus be willing to do for us and with us if we came to him so boldly? Have you ever felt like you've asked Jesus for too much? No. Like your prayer is too bold or too big? No. I wonder if this man struggled with the same doubt when considering whether to ask Jesus. But look at the way Jesus answered him. Verses 24 through 26. And he went with them, and a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. And there was a woman who had had a discharge of blood for 12 years, and who had suffered much under many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. On the way to Jairus' house, a large number of people surrounded Jesus. But Mark and the other gospel writers draw our attention to this woman with the discharge of blood. We're told her ailment had caused her great suffering, and she had spent all of her money on doctors who were ultimately of no help. If this woman were a Jew, this ailment would have been particularly troubling, as it likely would have made her ceremonially unclean and would have excluded her from a significant amount of Jewish life. Put yourself into the position of a person like this, someone who was perpetually unclean according to the law of Moses. They lived in a constant state of unwelcomeness. They couldn't go to the temple. They couldn't participate in the feast, etc. What if you weren't allowed over to your family's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner? If you were banned from going into the church building where you once worshipped? This would have been true for the lepers Jesus healed. Can you imagine contracting leprosy and in an instant having your invitation revoked to everywhere you were once welcome? And it wasn't their fault. This woman didn't choose to have a discharge of blood. Imagine how much a miracle of healing would have meant to this kind of person. Man, I'm running over my headset. Jeez. To finally have a chance to be welcome again. In healing our sins, God gives us all a place to be welcome. The church. We know we are the church. The church should be where healed people find a home. So if you've gone through life feeling unwelcome everywhere you go, Jesus invites you to a place you can belong. And of course, that is only a shadow of what heaven will be. Oh, amen. Verses 27 through 29. She had heard the reports about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if I touch even his garments, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. Having heard of the power of Jesus, she determined he was her best hope. She made her way through the crowd, confident she could be healed if she only touched the hem of Jesus' clothes. When she had managed it, her faith was confirmed, and she could feel the healing inside her. Verse 30. And Jesus, perceiving in himself that power had gone out from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, Who touched my garments? Verses 31 through 34. Oh, this chair is getting uncomfortable. And his disciples said to him, You see the crowd pressing around you, and yet you say, Who touched me? And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. Technically, she was considered unclean, and she just touched this rabbi. She actually touched the tassels, the tissits, as you would call it, the four that would hang off of their garment. So she didn't actually make him unclean, technically, because of what she did touch. And he said to her, Daughter, notice he didn't call her woman this time. He says, Daughter. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. She couldn't even probably be around her own family, so for him to call her daughter. I want to actually look that in my study Bible real quick, because I know there's some significance to why he called her daughter, whereas others he say woman, you know. I mean, even his mother, he refers to her as woman. Okay, let's see. Mark 5. Where's Mark 11? Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's right. There we go. Mark 5. I must be tired because I'm moving slower than pond water. Alright, he said unto her daughter. In the 25th verse, she was addressed merely as a certain woman. Now she is called daughter, which refers to relationship. He, in effect, had made her a member of the family of God. And it says, your faith has made you whole. If he doesn't touch us, we can touch him. Go in peace, gain salvation as well as healing, and be whole of your plague, meaning that the malady, I do that every time, the malady would never return. Okay. Jesus immediately recognized power had gone out of him. Rather than an unclean person touching Jesus and making him unclean, the unclean received his cleanliness by touching him. Rather than lepers touching Jesus and giving him leprosies, the lepers touched Jesus and they were made healthy. It's a powerful picture of Jesus' untarnishable power and purity. He asked the crowd, who touched my garments? The disciples were confused why Jesus would ask this, considering he was surrounded by a crowd and was likely being touched by dozens of people. But Jesus and this woman knew this was a different kind of touch than the average shoulder rubbing against another. In fear, the woman emerged from the crowd and admitted to her actions. But there was no reason for fear. Well, yes, actually there was. You go back to the scripture, to the scriptures. Technically, yeah, there really was. Because of the fact that she was considered unclean and she just touched somebody. She was actually in public. I mean, she might as well have been might as well have been a leper. 5. Yeah. And tell them all the truth. And I know it says it in here. Let me see. Okay. It's him to solve. Refresh, read, run, and think of God's people, yes. Well, Doc got it. Oh, I know I read it somewhere, or something, but I know that for her to, it was somewhere I read it or something, and I don't know why I'm so freaking busy all of a sudden. I think I just spun around in my chair too fast. But I know I read somewhere that I think it was because of her bleeding issue that she was, that because she came up and touched him like that, and it was out in the public around people, that that could have been like a bad thing, like breaking laws, like because they weren't supposed to do that. I can't remember what it was. I'll find it though, and I'll put it in like the comments or something. I remember seeing that. That's why she was afraid, because she knew that she was unclean and she just touched him, right? And she didn't realize that by touching him, she didn't make him unclean. His cleanliness made her clean. You know what I mean? But in fear, the woman immersed in the crowd and admitted to her actions, but there was no reason for fear. Jesus spoke kindly to her and commended her faith. Of course, Jesus knew who it was who had touched him, so why did he ask? No, actually, my study Bible said that the Holy Spirit withheld that from him. That's why he said, "Who touched my clothes?" The Spirit did not reveal to him who had touched him. Why reveal the identity of the woman? Now this is Luke Taylor saying this, okay? And then in the study Bible, that's another pastor saying that. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that Luke Taylor's wrong and the pastor's right, or the pastor's wrong and this pastor's right. I don't know. I'm just taking it from two perspectives here. So he said, Luke Taylor said, I can think of at least 3 reasons. To bring glory to God for the miracle. The people of the city may have known this woman and her affliction. They may have known she had been to every doctor in the city. They couldn't hear her, but Jesus did. To give the people a picture of great faith. That's it. I bet. For the benefit of the woman. Jesus may have exposed her of generosity. Here was a woman who, if a Jew, had been ceremonially unclean with an unobservable disease for 12 years. It would be suspicious if she showed up one day out of the blue claiming her ailment had disappeared. Jesus may have done this out of kindness to inform the people she had been healed. Compare the boldness of Jairus to the timidity of, I don't know how to say that word, of this woman. Jairus came in boldness to ask Jesus to take time out of his day to come to his house. Okay, Jairus is also a man. This woman in secret ran her fingers across the hem of Jesus' garment while he walked by. Probably the most unobtrusive way of touching somebody ever. I love that Jesus honors the request of both. There are people with great boldness of faith who approach God's throne knowing they are his children and have his ear. Yes. There are people who come to God in deep humility and poverty of spirit. God hears them both and will bless them both. Verse 35 and 36. While he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, Your daughter is dead, why trouble the teacher any further? But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, Do not fear, only believe. While Jesus was commending the faith of the woman, messengers from Jairus' house arrived to tell him it was too late, his daughter was dead. The messengers told Jairus there was no need to bother the teacher. How? Jesus. It's one thing to have power over disease, it's another to have power over death. Disease is a physical bodily problem, but raising someone from the dead requires command of a person's spirit. Jesus overheard the conversation and told Jairus not to worry, only believe. To Jairus' credit, we don't read that he did anything but believe. We don't read about him complaining the woman with the issue of blood slowed things down. Verses 37 to 40. And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter and James and John, the brother of James. He came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and Jesus saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. You know that they would actually hire mourners? Sometimes. Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah. And when he had entered, he said to them, Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed at him. But he put them all outside and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him and went in where the child was. Then the last 3 verses, 41 through 43. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, Talitha Kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he strictly charged them that no one should know this. And he told them, give her something to eat. To give her something to eat. Arriving at the house, Jesus took only 3 of the apostles with them, Peter, James, and John. Together they entered the house with Jairus and his wife. There they encountered several mourners. Jesus asked them, why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child's not dead but sleeping. Scientifically, the mourners knew the girl was dead, but they didn't know the creator of science and the conqueror of death was standing in front of them. They laughed at Jesus' question. I don't think it was right for them to laugh at Jesus. They clearly didn't know who he was. But imagine if you were at the funeral of a loved one and the man you didn't know showed up and said, why are you all crying? Your loved one isn't dead, they're just sleeping. Would you laugh or mock? Well, if you were at the funeral, at that point, if my loved one got up out of that coffin, knowing that he'd already been, embalmed and stuff, and someone standing there told me that, and then they got up, I would be very afraid, only because I know how Jesus is coming back to the earth, so I would know that was not Jesus. Anyway, those who heard Paul's preaching in Acts 17 mocked the idea of resurrection from the dead. Many today mock and laugh at the idea there's life after death. Yep. Now, a lot of people believe you live, you die, and that's it. You just rot in the ground. Once you die, that's the end. No more. So I don't understand that. Why would God create us, and then when it's our time to no longer be in this earthly vessel and just die and our spirit dies? No. We were made to be eternal beings. God created us to have a relationship with us. God is eternal. Why would he make us temporary? Come on. And when he created us, he said, multiply, right? I don't know why that chair's getting so good. I think the cushion's breaking down. That hurts sitting on it. I'm afraid to stand up though. I'm afraid you won't be able to hear me over here. Let's see. Jesus obviously knew the girl was physically dead, but he was about to wake her up as if she were only asleep. Well, I think that we do sleep when we die, because you remember when King Saul went to that witch of Eldor, something like that, and had her raise Samuel from the dead, right, to talk to him. And he says, why did you disturb me from my rest? He was sleeping, right? So I think, I don't know. I've always been raised to believe that when we die, we're immediately in, if we're believers, we're standing before Jesus and the Bema seat, right? If we're not believers, then we're somewhere else. But then I also think, well, and at the same time, I think we're asleep. It's like, and so I don't know. Ow! Jeez. Sorry, I just got a nerve pain and muscle in my back. Ooh, yeah. Like someone stabbed me or poked me. Hurt. Those who heard Paul's preaching in Acts 17 mocked the idea of resurrection from the dead. Many today mock and laugh at the idea that there's life after death. We would be wise to evaluate who is claiming the power of resurrection before we laugh. We might be laughing in the face of our Creator. Jesus obviously knew the girl was physically dead, but he was about to wake her up as if she were only asleep. He took a small audience into the room where the girl was laying, took her by the hand, saying, little girl, I say to you, arise. First one to grab, yay. As the Word of God had put life into all things in the beginning, Jesus' words put life back in the body. Now consider the complexity of restarting a dead human body. All the organs kick-starting at once, function coming back to the brain, pushing blood through cold veins, restoration of decaying organ tissue, oxygen-starved muscles firing at full capacity, eyes redilating, blood pressure and oxygen levels stabilizing. Jesus managed the complexity in a word. Well, okay, he created Adam from the clay of the earth, from the dust of the earth. He made him from the dirt of the earth and then breathed into his nostrils. So I'm pretty sure that this is nothing but the creator of everything. Just saying. So what's the dose of this? Jesus managed the complexity in a word. One word. Right? Good. Right? Side effects were non-existent. The girl wasn't even dizzy. She got up immediately and started walking around as if she'd been asleep. I'm sure the statement they were immediately overcome with amazement is not an understatement. Let's see. What was the dosage? Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just going to pick one. Yeah, my bladder's been hurting like all day today. So I heard about someone having a UTI, and we prayed about it the other day. In one of my videos I prayed for. I mean, the poor woman already had a stroke, and now she's got a UTI. And that's probably, UTI is probably one of the most miserable things, other than, well, it's one of the most miserable things a female can go through. And so now I feel like I'm getting one. I said, what? They're not contagious in the air. Come on. Okay. When I was in the Army, and every year when I was at a permanent party in El Paso, Texas, we would go to White Sands, New Mexico for a live fire exercise because I was in an air defense unit. Even though I was trained to be a tank mechanic, I was a 63 Yankee 10 track vehicle mechanic, right? But at the time when I was in, the tanks were in the combat units, and at that time, back in the 87 and 91, they didn't allow women in the combat units. Women weren't allowed in combat. You know, they couldn't be in the front lines and stuff like that. But I could train to be a tank mechanic. The only tank I ever got to work on, other than in AIT, Advanced Individual Training, were the Hawk missile loader. I was in the Hawk missile unit, 2-1, 11th Brigade. And in fact, in Desert Storm, you heard about the unit that was shooting the Scuds out of the sky, 2-7, the Patriot unit. They were in 11th Brigade. They were part of my brigade. We were 2-1 Hawk Missile, and they were 2-7 Patriot. So that was kind of cool. I know there was a point to that, but dang if I remember what it was. I have no clue, guys. I was a tank mechanic. Couldn't work. I had no idea where I was going with that. What the heck? I don't know. I'll have to listen to my video when I'm done and to remember what I was saying, so I know what I was going to say. We would go to jeez, I remember what I was supposed to say. We would go to the field, that's what it's called, when we go out to the desert for 2 weeks for live fire exit, where they would fire off missiles, you know, the Hawk missile, they'd fire them off and stuff. Live fire exercise, that was actually pretty cool. And we would drink a lot of water. I would drink a lot of water because we're out in the desert. Just it would get really hot during the day. Dry heat, but never realized it was so hot. And I would get a UTI every time. And I'm like, how? as much water as I'm drinking. Is that even possible? I still to this day don't know. I know it was miserable. I do not miss that part of the military. Anyhow, alright, where were we? Okay, as the Word of God had put life into all things in the beginning, Jesus put life in the body. Okay, I did all that. Okay, I read all that. Okay, yeah, we're done with that page. And again, we find Jesus telling people not to talk about the miracle publicly. He's not yet ready for his identity as the Messiah to be made known. Contrast this with what he told the demon-possessed man in verse 19. Why the difference? It may have come down to location, and audience. Location, right? Unless I'm mistaken, Jesus usually tells Jews not to spread the news about his miracles, but he encourages their spread when performed in non-Jewish areas. Yeah, it's true. Man healed of the demons. Right, I was just thinking that, yeah. He wanted to follow Jesus, and he's like, no, I should go back home and tell everyone what happened. Tell them all about me. Tell them everything. Woman at the well in John 4. She was the first evangelist, and she was female. There may be exceptions to this. I'll continue to evaluate the theory as we go through our study. Two additional observations from the second half of chapter 5. Take a moment to contrast the healing of the woman with the issue of blood and Jairus' daughter. Jairus had enjoyed the joy of his daughter for 12 years. Whoa! I never saw this! The woman had been afflicted with the discharge of blood for 12 years. But Jairus was an important man in the community, ruler of the synagogue. The woman was no one of significance. We don't even know her name. Jairus probably had money. The woman had no money. That's right, she spent it all on the doctors. Jairus approached Jesus and made his request publicly. The woman came up behind Jesus in secret. Jairus wanted Jesus to physically come to his house to perform a healing. The woman only wanted her finger to graze the hem of Jesus' clothing. He didn't even have to break stride. The healing of Jairus' daughter was delayed. The woman was healed immediately. Jairus' daughter was raised to life in a private room. The woman was healed in the midst of a throng of people. These stories are recorded in all three synoptic Gospels and are always placed together in the text. Is this contrast part of their significance? Also consider Jesus' delay in arriving at Jairus' house. Jesus knew exactly how much life Jairus' daughter had in her when Jairus initially approached him. He knew if he decided to walk to Jairus' house and encounter the woman with the issue of blood, Jairus' daughter would die on the way. I'm sure Jairus was in a hurry, but Jesus wasn't. Kind of like when Lazarus died. He waited 2 days. We'll cover that when we cross that bridge. This wasn't the only time Jesus... I swear I don't read these ahead of time. God strike me dead if I'm lying. This wasn't the only time Jesus would delay healing someone and allow them to die. The same thing happened to Lazarus, John 11. Lazarus' sisters didn't understand why Jesus hadn't arrived earlier to save their brother. The Jews also said, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? John 11:37. Why didn't Jesus speed things up? Jesus told his apostles he was glad he was not there so that you may believe. Okay. To keep going though, and he's not saying it, I'll tell you. They would wait 3 days. Because sometimes the people would come back to life. You know, they didn't have the medical technology like we do now. On the 4th day, because on the first 3 days they thought that their spirit was still around, or in them, or with them, or, you know, could easily come back. But on the 4th day, they knew that their spirit was gone, that they were not going to re-enter. If they didn't wake up on the 4th day, they knew they were gone, and that was it. They died. They were dead. That's why Mary and Martha said, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even though he's standing there, they know it's the 4th day, so they think it's too late now. His soul is definitely in hell now, or paradise, or wherever it was that they go. Paradise, yeah. Whatever. Well, in Lazarus' case, I'm sure it was paradise. I don't think it was hell. When the messenger came to tell Jesus that Lazarus was sick, it was a 2-day travel from where Lazarus was to where Jesus was. So when he came to tell Jesus, as he was telling Jesus, Lazarus, your friend Lazarus is sick. Lazarus died, right? So Jesus waits 2 days. So at this point, Jesus waits 2 days. Lazarus has been dead 2 days, right? Then he says, let us go, for Lazarus has fallen asleep. And they get there 2 days later, because it takes 2 days to travel. When he gets there to Lazarus, at this point he's been dead 4 days. And the reason he waits for it to be 4 days, and not sooner than that, to prevent him from dying and or on the 3rd day, because if you rose him from the dead on the 3rd day, they'd be like, well, you probably didn't do anything special. Lots of people have come back to life by the 3rd day, because, whatever. But if he did it on the 4th day, and they, as far as they knew, in their beliefs, their spirit was already in hell or paradise, whichever way they were going, right? If someone, only the Messiah or God himself would be able to raise someone from the dead on the 4th day, because his body had already started to stink. He was already starting to decay by this time, because Martha even said that, when he said roll away the stone, she says, my Lord, it's been in there 4 days, surely he's already stinking. That's why he waited so long, because that way when he raised Lazarus from the dead, they would know he was the Messiah. If they had any doubt before, they wouldn't now. I'm glad, he was glad he was not there, so that they may believe that he is the Messiah. Jesus may have delayed to have the opportunity to perform a greater miracle and create stronger faith in those who witnessed it. Is it possible he still behaves this way today? Have you ever been in the situation or witnessed a situation where people were anxiously awaiting God to show up and save them? They knew they needed God's help. Their faith was in the right place, but God was delaying. Why? That's us now, waiting for him to come and get us up out of this place. Take us out of here. We're ready to go to the wedding supper of the Lamb. Come on, let's do this. Oh, why? Because it's terrible here. It's getting worse by the day. And before my son just gets completely into the world, Lord, maybe he delays to build greater faith when he provides a more astounding salvation. Oh, that was it. Oh, okay. Well, that's the end of the reading, guys. Man, this one took forever. And it took just this long, and we didn't even do the story. Well, sheesh. I remember. Okay, well. Yeah. And that was the end of Mark 5, too. Okay, so this is the end of reading for the 25th. Are you kidding? Really? So I'm still, oh God, I still have 3 days. Oh my Lord. Okay, yeah, and it's 12:15, and I'm like, my voice is starting to get gravelly, so that means my throat's getting worn out. So let's see, what is tomorrow? Wednesday? I don't think I have to go anywhere tomorrow, except for tomorrow night we have church. Other than that, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get these caught up tomorrow, for sure. I mean, tomorrow. Today. I forgot what time it was. But yeah, I need to go sleep. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I had to go to Kingfisher today, and that's like a 45-minute drive there, 45-minute drive. It's like oh gosh, how many miles is it? Well, it's 45 minutes there and 45 minutes back, if you don't run into construction or traffic, so. And that's just the drive, not to mention how long the appointment itself takes. Oh, boy. Okay, so, shalom for now. I still have to upload these to YouTube. I don't know why, but Facebook is like taking forever on these videos to allow me to click the download, so I can download it and then upload it to YouTube. I don't know why it's taking so long now. I put the references to where I get my information, so it's not like I'm trying to plagiarize something. Facebook. Ugh. Anyways, I hope y'all have a blessed day. And know that Jesus loves you, and so do I. And I forgot to look up that saying from Corey Ten Boom. I've got it. Well, since I'm already over now, I might as well just look it up real quick. Let's see. Is it Corey Ten Boom? There is not a pit too deep that is not there's no pit so deep that God's love open is not deeper still. That's what it is. There's no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still. I like that. That's what I'm going to start saying. I need to write that down. Yeah, I'm going to remember that. Alright. Bye, guys. Have a blessed one.